still remember the first week we opened, there was this moment I'll never forget in the bakery. We're prepping the sticky buns for the next day. And I was so exhausted. I think I'd been working for 20 hours every day, all day, every day. And I was so tired, and just the whole family was there. We were talking aunts and uncles, and my dad came down, and everybody in an assembly line helping me just get sticky buns prepped.
Hello everyone, I'm David Cooney, your host of the In the Booth podcast, a podcast mostly about the people, places, and things in and around Mifflinburg, Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to have today's guest with me in the booth, baker extraordinaire and owner of Gable House Bakery in Mifflinburg, Nikki Keister-Hornig. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for being here.
Your voice takes me right back to high school football games.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I know. It's uncanny.
Well, so last year was my 25th year.
Was it?
So it occurred to me, because I've had people say, whenever I hear your voice, I think of fall and football. I'm like,
yeah.
And this is someone who's 18, 19 years old. I'm like, well, they never heard anyone else.
Yeah, literally have never heard anyone
Yeah, so, and when I was young, it was Bob Lynch.
Oh.
When I hear Bob Lynch,
that's what you think of.
Football.
Yeah, football.
So what I would like to do is talk to you not only about what you're doing now, but going way back to the beginning. Now, how much did you weigh at birth? No.
Actually, 10 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
10 ounces, something ridiculous.
And you're such a petite flower now.
Oh. But I was the youngest of 5.
Okay.
And so by the time my mom pushed me out, she was all good to go. I was no big deal.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Can I ask, were you born in a hospital? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was.
Well, I thought maybe a home birth,
No, my parents aren't quite that, domestic.
So you were born a farm girl.
Yes.
And I really was not asking for your birth weight. That was a joke, but thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So how was it being raised as a farm girl? Was it?
It's awesome. Yeah, I grew up on a beef farm, so not getting up at 2 a.m. to milk cows or anything. Right. But yeah, I loved it. I thought my dad being the farmer was the coolest thing, and I hated that there was a stereotype about farmers that they were dumb. And I would always talk about how my dad was the valedictorian of his class, and he's so smart, and he has all these Excel spreadsheets for all this stuff. He's just he really, it's a full business, right? And I always hated the stereotypes about farmers, so I talked about it a lot. And I definitely had really tough feet and bare feet in the stones all the time, things like that.
Tramped on a nail.
Yes.
Yeah, and I bent it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting about your dad, because I know your dad, and I know he's incredibly bright.
Yeah.
And a lot of the farmers, I don't know where the stereotype came from, because a lot of the farmers I know are crazy smart.
They are, and they run these enterprises.
Yes.
And they do it pretty much all themselves. It's amazing, and it's as far as being a small business owner, I think my dad really showed me what it looks like to do the business end really well, because he really did that. He weighed out how I had it all in spreadsheets, formulas for how much the cattle got fed, and planting and all this stuff. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So definitely got work ethic from growing up on a farm. That's not a bad stereotype. It's very true.
No.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Yeah.
And so you did the farm chores and slop the hogs and whatever.
Some of that, yeah. We my parents weren't too hardcore about that until we were teenagers. Then they were okay, it's time. So we would mow the lawn and stuff, but then it got to an age where we would work on the farm. And it was great. I treated cattle, and I helped move pigs, and I did all those things.
So being the youngest,
yes.
Did you get out of anything?
No, not that I'm aware of.
so it wasn't well, Nikki didn't have to do this, and Danny had to do that. But,
no, actually, weirdly, as far as actually working on the farm, we kind of went every other. So 2 of my sisters didn't work on the farm quite as much, but 1, 3, and 5, us 3 really did. Oh. And we actually got paid to work on the farm and things like that. So yeah.
Cool. Well, like you said, instilling the work ethic.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, so a family of all girls.
Yes.
Do you think that softened your dad up a little bit, or you know how
Yeah. He would always say, he says now he wouldn't have no idea how to raise boys, and he really loves that he got to raise girls. But yeah, that is the main comment I get when people hear there are 5 girls, oh, your poor dad. And I my dad loved it. I've never heard him complain. And yeah,
you really never heard him complain.
Yeah. He's pretty honest. I don't think he's complaining behind our back. Yeah. So, yeah.
And then, and for people that don't know your family is also known for being very musically talented.
Yeah.
So did all 5 of you?
Well, yeah, we almost didn't have a choice. We grew up with it. So my mom and her sisters, they would go around to churches and sing, like a gospel group, the Shank Singers, or no, what were they? The Shank family, I think.
And now that was locally around here, or?
They were down in Perry County, so
Okay.
Central PA. And then growing up, we would just sing all the time. All of our family gatherings, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, anytime we're with our cousins, it's just we're singing.
You mean everybody, or it's like
everybody?
It's the Von Trapp Family Singer show?
Kind of, yeah. Like we would go to these churches and we put on these little programs, and so we did that all growing up. And then eventually, as we got older and could like actually sing on our own, my sisters and I really started singing together more. We still do sometimes, but not enough. But yeah, so it was just like a part of our family heritage. It wasn't just like, oh, you can sing. It's like, no, you have to sing, kind of thing. So yeah, and then going up through school.
You're one of the Keister girls. Belt something out.
Yeah.
Nobody can count on you.
Yeah. So going up through school, then we were all involved in like band and choir and all those things. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's something that you will carry with you forever.
Oh yeah.
And the memories that you built for your parents, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge part. Even still, like we'll sometimes just get together and sing just for the heck of it. And it always like, it's one of those things where you look over and Dad has tears in his eyes and like, it's just like, it's a big part of who we are as a family. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So baking, that's what you do now.
It is what I do now.
That's your livelihood. So when did you get an interest?
That's funny.
Was that mandatory too, like the singing, or no?
No, it wasn't. So my mom was a wedding cake artist in our area. About 25 years from beginning to end that she did that out of our home. Right. So that was not mandatory, except for at gingerbread season. She also did gingerbread.
Yes.
We had to bag a lot of candy. Yeah. So we definitely helped with that. But yeah, I mostly got to just witness my mom do the cake decorating and stuff like that. Go with her on delivery sometimes. But yeah, I actually did not start baking personally until we decided to open the bakery in Mifflinburg.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that'd be like me saying, I never picked up a camera until I decided to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Oh, danger. So that was a leap of faith for sure.
It was. I think there was this sense of like, I knew I could learn from my mom. And like I knew, at that point I knew like enough of the skill set I had to know I could artistically do it. I was like, I could figure this out. And then my mom was able to teach me, and then my dad was able to help me with the business end. So I was like, I think we can do this.
And you weren't on your own. It's not like my mom's back in Iowa and here I am.
Like they're right here, like really like coaching me along, helping me figure it out. So
that's perfect. And you had a lot of family support. I remember going down there and you'd see everybody.
Yeah.
Which was, I used to like going down there and get a muffin or something and just hang out.
Yeah.
Because that's where I haven't seen you guys for a while.
Yeah, it was really, my mom, the first like year we were open, she was there with me at like 4 a.m. helping me like get things going, and really put in tons of hours helping me figure it out. And of course helping me with cake decorating. Like I still call her in a panic sometimes, like I don't know how to decorate this cake, can you help me? So yeah, she was huge in all of that and getting it going. And then of course like my ex-husband's family was such a huge part of it. My mother-in-law, like she was there working at the bakery at the counter, and like his grandparents would come and help me like wash dishes at the end of the day because I was exhausted, and like it was really a family effort. I still remember the first week we opened, there was this moment I'll never forget in the bakery. We're prepping the sticky buns for the next day. And I was so exhausted. I think I'd been working for like, 20 hours every day, all day, every day. And I was so tired, and just the whole family was there. We were talking like aunts and uncles, and like my dad came down, and like everybody like in an assembly line helping me just get sticky buns prepped. And like it was just like this like, it was almost like to birth this thing. We just needed everybody to like help out. But yeah, it was quite the adventure. So.
I remember one time I walked in and I thought, hey, there's our fire chief. He's doing dishes. And there's his dad sitting there. So, like I said, it was nice to visit because his dad was my mailman forever. Hey, Brother Bill. I always, hey, Brother Bill.
Yeah, they were so instrumental in all of that. I'm like eternally grateful. I almost like felt like really, I still feel really indebted to them.
That's awesome.
I'm not sure how do you thank people for that kind of like gift.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bake them a pie. No.
Yeah.
Wouldn't point to it.
I've done that a few times, so it still doesn't feel like quite enough. Yeah.
So, going back into your baking, what was the first thing you ever baked?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we probably started with cakes.
Now, I'm talking like back at home,
back.
not the restaurant, not the store.
Not the bakery. I'm trying to think. Probably, I would say whoopie pies. My mom, I feel like there are a number of like birthdays where she make whoopie pies and we would help. So I have distinct memories of that way back. Yeah, that's probably.
So it wasn't one thing you baked and thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
I never aspired to be a baker, and I know that's like a kind of like not inspiring story. Like it's nice when somebody's like, I always want to do this, and I'm doing it.
Well, I got my Easy Bake Oven when I was 2. And
no, actually, I think my sister got an Easy Bake Oven.
And she's not a baker.
She's not, no. Yeah, but yeah, there was never like this like pinnacle moment. My pinnacle moment was more of like wanting to be in Mifflinburg and doing something in Mifflinburg significantly in some way, and so that was more my pinnacle moment, and like bakery felt like a good outlet. But as far as specifically bakery, like not as much. Yeah.
So when you say you wanted to be in Mifflinburg,
yeah,
because you grew up, I would say, not way out in the West End or something, but when you say I wanted to be in Mifflinburg, were you thinking I want to be around here, or were you thinking I want to be in downtown Mifflinburg?
Yeah, I wanted to be in downtown Mifflinburg.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I had lived overseas for about 2 years in Hong Kong, and when I came home, I was now like an adult, and I was like, I feel like I want to contribute something to this community, and I don't know how to do it, but I want to do something, and it felt like a bakery was like something we could use. Like there's something classic about it. We didn't have like a full-on bakery in our town, and I was like, I think we could do that, and I loved finding our little place on the 400 block.
I want to say bakery was one of the things that they used to do these surveys, and they'd get like 32 of them back. They sent out 1,000, which is actually not bad.
That's not terrible. I was going to say 32.
And you get 32 back. That's
a
significant survey. But it was always the dry cleaner, coffee shop, bakery, dry cleaner, every year after year after year after year. And so somebody's picked up, Mary Coon's store. It used to be downtown. They used to do the dry cleaning, and then someone else picked that up, I believe. And I don't know, dry cleaning's still a thing, or Steininger's, or...
I don't know if it is either.
No, I'm not sure.
It's not a thing I do.
So, in terms of you wanting to make a difference in downtown, and I said I was going to pull this business card off of my bulletin board for an audio podcast. It doesn't matter; they can't see the other. But just for the viewers, I forgot to pull it off my bulletin board. But your original plan to contribute was next door neighborhood outreach.
Yeah, that was a thing. So my mom and I, when I came home, we were really brainstorming, like, what impact can we make in the community? Right. And we saw there's a business model in Middleburg. There's a thrift store where they have a women's shelter in the top floor, and then they work in the thrift store. And we liked that idea as a way of, I don't know, like, as a, I'm losing my words here, like a philanthropic effort of some sort, also like giving people some like job training, things like that. And we really liked that model, and we thought a bakery could be a good model for that. And so we kind of started a nonprofit first that was like next door neighborhood outreach, just like how can we walk with people who are in transition or like coming out of prison or keep going, but like they've never been able to hold a job, or like there's so many different people find themselves in really hard situations. How can we walk with them? And we kind of started that first, and the whole thought was eventually if we can have a business that hires these people that we're working with, that would be ideal. And then the building came up on the 400 block, and it was kind of like we talked to our board, and we're like, do we want to do this? And they were just like unsure and kind of hesitant, which I don't blame them. Like that's not. Yeah. And I was like, fine. I mean, I'll do it. So I just decided I'd have to start the bakery anyway and have to get it to like a stable footing before we could even consider any kind of program like that anyway. So I was like, I'll just do it. I'll just start the bakery, and then hopefully one day we reach that goal of being able to like be a place that hires folks who need it most.
Wow.
So I'm still working towards that. That's
Right.
still like in my hopes and dreams.
That's good, because I kind of thought, oh, she changed business models, and that's, man, never mind that anymore.
No, it's really hard. I mean, I knew it was going to be hard, but building a business that's actually sustainable and actually like making a profit, and also like I'm dependent on it, right?
Right.
To live, it is my income. So that makes it really hard to get to a place where I have enough excess that I can run that kind of program. That is still my hope. I think if I never get there, I will feel like I failed, for sure.
Oh, no.
I know.
I mean, you've made such an impact already, but if that's your goal.
I know, yeah, that hasn't changed for me. It's just, how do we get there?
And I love that as a goal, because it's a goal of goodness and helpfulness. It's not a, what's your goal? Well, I made this much money last year, so next year I want to make more.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people, that's their goal
right.
in business.
It's just comparing numbers and
And when pressed for, well, you know, do you help people? Well, I donated to whatever. Yeah, but you would be in the trenches helping, and I think that's a very noble cause.
That's the hope. I mean, I don't even know if we're the right business for it. I guess I have more of like an openness to like the bakery being what it can be in our community and not forcing it into a place that it can't be. Like, it might just not be the right business model for that. But we could certainly make impacts in other ways. But I'm really hopeful it is. Like, I'm still hopeful that we'll be able to.
And I think the nice thing about that is, if it's not necessarily the be all for these folks, you're still giving them a skill that they will take elsewhere. You know, as if they were in like a traditional retail.
Right.
What skills are they walking away with?
Right.
I know how to fold shirts now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think it really could be a good, and there's models out there where it's worked in a bakery setting. So, that's still the goal.
That's cool. So even with next door, like as soon as I saw the business card, I thought, wow, this is really together. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Like from an artistic eye, like color balance, design, and then when you opened the bakery, again I was impressed. Like, huh. So, talk to me a little bit about your branding. Were you just winging it, or did you sit down and say, "This is my color scheme because it radiates warmth and help"? You know, talk to me a little bit about those sorts of things.
I took some graphic design classes at one point, so I have that a little bit in my background.
Right.
Like, not significantly. I don't have a degree in it or anything, but like I know my Illustrator and my Photoshop pretty well. So yeah, I'm a pretty artistic person, and so for me, color matters and like logo matters and things like that. So yeah, well, for me, it started with name. Coming up with this name of Gable House was really, really hard. But then
until you walked out front and looked up at the house.
Yeah, the big goofy gable on the front of the house. Yeah. But once we had a name, then it was like, what do we want the colors to be? And I didn't want to do like the pink cupcake thing that it feels like most bakeries do.
Yeah, that's true. I can see you didn't want to be cutesy, especially because of your mission. It's not going to be I don't want to say cakewalk, but it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, I really wanted to be like almost like like old-fashioned bakeries, kind of that sense, but not be so old-fashioned that people are like, this is probably run by like a 70-year-old woman. Like, I want it to be like...
Careful. I'm a 56-year-old.
But I really wanted it to be like, warm and like be able to be modern if it needs to be, but also fit Mifflinburg. So like that was like a large task, but
that's a lot of aesthetics to bring together.
That's a lot of things to bring
into
together.
Something that's going to be on the return address of the envelope.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, having the graphic design background was tremendously helpful in starting my own business. So and I'm a fairly hard critic when I see photography, and
I talked to you about that. I think one time, like, wow, this is really good. What are you doing? How do you? Because when people start a business, and then I'm going to do my own photography, and I'm usually like, ooh.
Oh, good luck.
But when I'm like, you must have like a tent, a little photo tent with lights, and you're like, yeah, absolutely. Let me show you. I'm like, okay, good. So I didn't even talk, after that I thought, you are so on the right track. There's nothing I can offer you to make it better. So I just thought, perfect.
Well, thank you. That's super kind. Yeah, the way phone cameras are going these days is really helpful. Like the low f-stop and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Camera
what is that? No.
You know what that is.
That's not the photographer's F word. The photographer's F word is film.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So you had all that together. You're ready to launch your business, and you're baking daily with the help of a lot of people.
Yes.
So, now that you're established, and how long have you been in business?
It was 5 years in November.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you just asked me, I'd have said 3 tops.
Yeah, no, it's
because
yeah, it went fast. Oh, COVID was in there, which screwed up everybody's concept of time.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, 5 years.
So, you said so COVID. How was that for you?
Actually, really good. That's terrible.
Are you looking for another variant?
Yeah.
Come on, Zeta, bring it, baby.
No, it was like, I think I credit the community completely because like I feel like there's this sense of like we just want to support small businesses through this and make sure they survive, and because we couldn't be together, like I laid off most of my staff and just kept one of my staff there. So we were running on like this skeleton crew, but doing just as much business because people were still hitting us up
like takeout business in the because weddings were curtailed and you do a lot of wedding cakes.
There was no weddings that year, or very few weddings that year, which is huge for us. But like people were just like ordering and they were like letting us do curbside, having us deliver.
Yeah.
We did just as much in sales through COVID, but with like a quarter of the staff, and it was amazing. It was a good year. Honestly, it was a nice break for me, weirdly, like to change pace and like not have like 1,000 cakes every weekend.
Yeah.
To have like 1 or 2 cakes every weekend was really nice. Yeah.
I've heard the same from some restaurant owners who weathered the storm by going takeout only.
Yeah, that's what we
and they're
did.
like, oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was really nice. I wish people would let us do that all the time.
Yeah, but then you're not going to be the hub, and you're not going to have all that social
There's all
interaction.
kinds of like important to being able to have people come in and be open, but it was good for us. Yeah.
So through COVID, well, not like overall, 5 years now, and let's not count the first year because people were feeling the whole situation out. But what's the customer favorites?
What people love?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we got a lot of compliments on our cheesecake. That's a big one, which is like a surprising one to me because honestly we use a pretty simple recipe. It's nothing crazy, but people really like our cheesecake. And then sticky buns, of course. People love sticky buns. And lately, cream puffs and eclairs. Like over the last year or so, like all of a sudden we can't keep them on the shelf.
Really?
Yeah, and it's very funny, like, the cream puffs are what the women over 70 buy, and the eclairs are what the men over 70 buy.
I'm an eclair man.
You aren't over 70 quite yet, but it's a very funny, like...
Well, I'm ahead of my time, I think.
I think the farmer's market, I think really, they exposed us to a different generation completely. Yeah. So, I think people found our cream puffs and eclairs there, and now they, like, will show up at the bakery, like, I'll take a dozen cream puffs, and it's like, great. So.
And again, this is not my area of expertise, so cream puff has the white stuff in it.
Well, no, ours don't. They can.
Because I like the yellow.
Yeah, that's what we put in all of ours. So if you want the official, so cream puffs and eclairs, like the real thing, are made from a pastry called Pastry, and then the stuff that goes inside is creme patisserie or pastry cream, and that's like yellow cream. It's basically like a homemade vanilla pudding almost.
That's what I love that.
Yeah, that's the stuff we do. That's like the real deal. So.
I think that, and if I'm ever elected president, donuts will be labeled because I don't like to think. I don't like to find something and think, oh, that's going to be good, and it has that white stuff in it. Whoa. You can make whatever rules you want.
You're the mayor, make the rule in Mifflinburg.
That would be an ordinance change. I might do that.
Donuts, filled donuts must be legal.
Well, see what council thinks of it. Run up the flagpole. So those are your favorite, those are the customer favorites. Yeah. But what are your favorite things to make?
Oh man, I always say my favorite things to make are anytime I get to make something new. Like I like get bored. To be honest, like in a business like mine, you have to have consistency for like efficiency, and also like so people know what they're getting when they walk through the door, kind of. But like anytime I get to like work on something new, develop something new, try a new design on a cake, that for me is like the life-giving moment. But yeah, I do. I love different parts of different processes for different reasons. Like there's something really lovely about a bread baking process when you're waiting for it to rise and then that dough is just right. That's really great. There's something really nice about like monotonously scooping cookies. Like I just scooped like 600 cookies on Saturday, and it was like really like it was something like, oh man, this is nice. Like
that didn't bother you?
No, man.
See, this is how my brain works, and monotonous things destroy me. like for example, if I'm packing pictures, like and I know I have 600 orders, like sports pictures. So as soon as I pack like 2 or 3, my brain starts going, okay, it's about 4 seconds for each one. Therefore,
Well, sometimes I do that.
yeah, it just drives
This
me
is why I
crazy.
listen to podcasts. Dude.
Yes, I'm gonna have to start.
You're
Same
gonna
thing
start-
mowing the lawn. Like I'll mow 2 rows and I'll be looking 2, 4, 6. Like
You
how many
need
more rows?
podcasts, Dave.
I
This
need
is
to,
important.
that would be a good
Yeah,
distraction.
this is a good distraction.
This will be the first one I listen to. That guy sounds familiar.
Your own podcast.
That guy's kind of a dork, but that's all right. Okay. So I want to know what you like to eat.
Oh, of my own stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not much of a sweets person.
I wondered.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of doing that? Were you before or you never were?
I've never been, like, even in my family, my mom made these great cakes, and my family never were cake people. Like, there's something, but I love anything savory that we do. We make some savory scones that, like, I think they're the bomb.com, and like I always tell customers, and they're always like, I don't know, ham and cheddar and a scone. I'm like, trust me, just trust me.
Oh.
So
That sounds like a meal in and of itself.
it
Ham and
is,
cheddar
yeah.
and carbs, yeah.
Yeah, we started making these like strata. They're like a little, like basically like a savory bread pudding. Those are like, I love those personally to eat. I also love anything that has like mousse in it, any kind of mousse.
Right.
So chocolate mousse, raspberry mousse. For me, if I were to choose cake flavors, they would always have a mousse in them because it's light and it's like not too sweet.
Right,
It's great.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
I'm
probably-
not a super sweet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the biggest compliment we always get on our icing. We make like a Swiss brand buttercream, so it's not like your super sweet like confectioner sugar
Right.
icing. It's like we cook egg whites with sugar, and then we like put white chocolate in it. It's like a much like more nuanced icing, and people really like that because it's not crazy super sweet
Yeah.
like you get at the grocery
Because
store.
that would mask, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
hides
can't
all
taste
the-
anything else.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know exactly what you mean.
yeah.
So, let me ask you one question. I
Yeah.
have some notes here I want to talk to you.
Mhm.
So what's something that is extremely tedious?
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
well, when I think, and you can talk
Yeah.
about the wedding stuff or not, but when I think, like, when I look at pictures of some of your cakes with
Yeah.
4,000 little leaves on them or something, I'm thinking, oh, geez, it would be easier just to plant a tree and let it grow its own
Yes,
leaves.
there is some tedium. There's a reason why I don't do decorated cookies anymore. I did them my first couple years, and that's the reason I do them, because they're super tedious.
Each cookie is its own little piece of art.
And it drives me crazy, and I like
Oh.
want to go crazy by the end.
And did you do a lot of, I seem to think like, businesses opening and they said, oh, I need 6 dozen cookies with my logo and that kind of stuff.
I didn't do much of that because
Okay.
I just didn't want to.
Okay, so one thing I want to ask you,
Yeah.
have you ever seen on Pinterest, the Pinterest fail?
Yes.
Like someone makes a cake and it's supposed to look like Mickey Mouse and it
Yes.
looks like Jeffrey Dahmer or something
Yeah.
like that. So, in all the things that you do, have you ever had like a fail?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well,
Okay.
do tell.
The first ever wedding cake I delivered by myself. So my mom went with me the first couple times I delivered wedding cakes.
Okay, and what's to that? I envision you just show up and say, "Where's the table? Here's your cake."
Yes, but like when a cake is like 3 or 4 tiers tall, like
Oh.
transporting it in the car.
You
Okay.
transport it you don't just build it there?
Yeah, we transport it put together. Some
Oh.
people build it when they get there. I don't.
Wow.
The way my mom always did it, the way I do it,
Right.
we build it and then we go. So it's like it's pretty like high skilled driving that we do. Like you brake really slow. You
What
turn
if some
really
redneck wedding? That's at the cabin, you got to drive down the lane. There's big potholes in it.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's
Oh.
or like we'll go to like a golf club and there's speed bumps and you have
Oh
to like.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so it can be very stressful, right? And we the very first time I delivered by myself, it was actually Emily. Oh my gosh, my brain. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm totally blanking on her last name right now. But she graduated with my sister Jamie in high school, and we were doing her wedding cake, and so she was a very understanding person. Anyway, so it was just over in Lewisburg, so it wasn't real far. I'm just going down 45, right?
Right.
So I'm like, I can do this by myself. It's my first time, and I get I get halfway
I
to
forgot about that
Lewisburg.
Vicksburg Hill.
I got halfway to Lewisburg, and somebody was turning right at Dry Spot Church Road.
Right.
And they braked pretty quickly. and so I also had to brake quickly. And I looked in the rearview mirror, and literally the whole tiered cake flew through the car. Like, all three, like, one of the tiers, the top tier, like, hit the passenger seat. And I, like, crumbled into, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I pulled off the road, and then my mom wasn't picking up her phone. So, like, I had I called my mom 10 times in a row, like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So we went back to the bakery. We had to redecorate the whole cake, and we got it to the venue in time for, like, the reception somehow. Yes.
Wow.
It was quite the adventure. So yeah, that has never happened.
You probably lost like 11 pounds in tears alone.
It was a little rough, but Mom came to the rescue. We were good.
So the cake wasn't just, or like did the cake break apart and you had to glue it back together?
No,
or?
I mean, like, so when we leave the house, the cake is cold because it's going to sit on the table for a couple hours. So it's not like the whole thing just like dissolved. Yeah. Right, okay. It was more like the tiers flew apart and like all the decorating we had done was gone. And like we had already put flowers on the cake and all that, so yeah. So we had to like literally redecorate the entire cake, and yeah, it was a good time. That was a good one.
Oh my goodness.
That's my closest to like my Pinterest fail. Yes. Yeah, that's a scary one. But now, like, so my mom, she didn't put like skewers down through the cake or anything. She would just go. So I'm like, no, we put skewers in our cake to like secure it.
Yeah.
Now. So yeah.
There's a market there, I bet, like some kind of cake carrying device that's.
There is one actually.
But does it touch the cake? I mean.
No, they like basically put this big like skewer through the cake, and then it doesn't move it.
Oh, and then just remove that icing over it.
That's what they do. Yeah, in the cake carrying system. I still don't even do that though. Wow. Yeah.
I would. I'd have two of them. I'd have more skewers than cake. I would be so worried about it. Sorry, your cake's hollow, but it's here.
Like
it's like the donut of cakes.
Yes, yeah. And actually, my own personal wedding cake last year, I got remarried, and my wedding cake was all mousse. Like I said, I like mousse, so it was all mousse inside, and my mom was delivering it for me, and I had done the whole thing. It was beautiful. It was ready the day before, and it was again right down the road. And when she went to deliver it, it all just fell apart because I didn't have it secured well enough. I didn't learn my own lesson right there. And it just like, the bottom tier dissolved out of it. And I was like, darn it. I was very disappointed.
I bet it tasted great though.
It tasted great. And I had pictures of it done.
Even if you had to eat it with a spoon and scoop it up. And
yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. It's like the cobbler's children have no shoes kind of.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, my husband and I always eat stale bread. Like, we always have the old bread, right? Like, that is...
Your bread is like cake. Like, I don't... It needs nothing. I wouldn't even... I think it's insulting to put butter on it because you can just pull a piece off and eat it, and it's like...
Oh, thank you.
And it's the oatmeal honey, I think, is...
Yeah, we have, like, an oat bread, and then we have, like, a honey whole wheat, so...
The honey whole wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the best compliment I've ever gotten about our oat bread at the farmer's market. Somebody came up, and he's like this older gentleman, and he told my husband, he said, I gotta tell you what, that oat bread keeps you regular.
Thank you. Maybe you should, maybe you should put a warning label or something.
This is my favorite.
Do not eat while traveling.
Yeah.
That's funny. And it works for him.
Yeah, it works for him. He was happy about it. He was not upset about it.
That's good. I would always keep a loaf back for him. And just now that you know it's medically necessary.
Yeah, that's medically.
Sorry, don't sell that. That's Gordon's emergency loaf.
Yeah, that's his emergency loaf. Yeah, he needs that to stay regular.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
So, have you ever had someone come in and say, hey, I want you to make this? Because I'm thinking, like, in my world, like, art and like copyright and stuff like that. Like, if someone comes in, I need it to be Mickey and Donald and...
Yeah, I just talked to, like, a cake mentor person today about that very thing.
I didn't know there was a cake mentor
person? She's, like, a cake decorator herself. And, like,
I thought that was something you signed up for or something.
And basically, like, consulting.
So you don't have to climb a mountain and talk to her at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, she's at the top of the mountain, yeah. She's the
cake guru.
The cake guru of Central Pennsylvania. Yeah, no, she's super awesome. Her name is Blair from Florida Sweet. you guys want to look her up. But we were just talking about that because when you're first starting as a cake decorator, nobody talks to you about that stuff, right? Of like, oh, you can't actually make this copyrighted material, or you could get sued.
Yeah.
And up until recently, I have to be honest, I don't like making like characters for cakes.
Right.
I'm not like, it's not fun for me, and so I was like, how can I get out of this? But honestly, technically, legally, I can't.
Right.
Like, I shouldn't be making those characters. Like, Disney could sue me.
Yeah.
So.
And of all people to do it, Disney would be the ones.
They would be the ones.
They vehemently watch over their copyright.
They do. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of cake decorators out there who will make copyrighted material,
Right.
But I honestly, like, I'm going to put a policy in place like very soon where I'm not going to do that anymore because it's not really legal, and B, I don't like doing it. So
yeah, I think people I think everyone, not just about that, but everything now. People are like, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to get sued. So I've had local like grocery stores and the big superstore down in. I've had them call me and say, hey, someone wants to put a picture on their cake of their son in his baseball. They said you took the picture.
Yeah. Can you send it to me? Yeah.
No, they want the permission.
Oh, they want permission.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm always like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's the thing. Edible printers are a thing that you can do, and like that's not a thing I do.
Right.
But yeah, we can make a really awesome like frozen themed cake that doesn't have Elsa on it, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's lots of options out there, and people buy toys for your
You
cakes.
said Elsa, this podcast will probably get taken down.
Oh no, we could talk about Disney.
Not that Elsa.
If we start,
some other Elsa.
If we start singing "Let It Go," though, you might have to pay like $20,000.
Oh, you don't have to worry about me singing. I would let you do that on your own. Disney would probably call you. We need the Elsa girl that's singing on your podcast.
Yeah, we need to sue her. Yeah.
No, they want to hire you.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. Anyway.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So those are the. So, what about other have you ever refused have you ever had anyone come in and say, something like, no, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh. May I ask what?
There was somebody who came in who wanted what's a gentle way to say this, like a bust.
Okay.
A feminine bust.
So they wanted 2 cakes.
And it was like done in a way that it wasn't like super explicit, but like at first I said, oh, like maybe I'll think about doing this, and I had several like pretty like conservative Mennonite employees at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna have to hide this cake from them, and I'm like, if I have to hide something from my employees, I'm not gonna do it. So I called them back.
That's a good guideline.
Yeah, I called them back and was like, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I know I said I would maybe do this for you, but I'm not comfortable. I think that's the only time I've actually. Nobody normally asks me to do anything.
So no one comes in and says, you know how to make a swastika?
No, yeah.
Because the grocery store made it backwards last time. I need someone that can understand how to do this.
No, I would very much refuse that.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I would refuse. There are designs that I would be like, no, thank you. Yeah. Because it really is like I'm creating art.
Yeah.
It's not always representative of me, but in some ways it is.
Yes. And it's, you're literally, it's coming from your hand and your
heart.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
You don't want to do something that's contrary to what your heart feels.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's a line there, but we want to serve people, of course, and I don't care about Peppa Pig all that much, but I'll make a Peppa Pig cake. But yeah, if it crosses the line, I'm definitely.
I love Peppa.
Do you?
And my kids, my daughter, they're way older than that, but I caught Peppa.
Can you talk like Peppa for me?
No, I know it's British accent.
You can't do a British accent.
A little bit, but not like Peppa. Probably like Grandfather Pig. But the thing that freaks me out about Peppa is these pigs must have the best emergency brakes on their cars ever. Because every house is like on the side of a near vertical. Every time they let's go over to Grandpa Pig's house. I'm like, you shouldn't park there. You shouldn't park there. Don't park there. It's almost vertical. And then you jump out of the car. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so unsafe.
That is so unsafe.
But look at all the wherever they live. Nobody lives flat anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that freaks me out.
That freaks me out.
I'm safety minded, I guess.
Yeah, you are.
Well, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You taught me a lot about the whole baking industry.
Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you about baking that you thought, oh geez, I hope he asked me about something?
I can't think of anything right now.
I don't want to leave anything out. Like, oh geez, you didn't even ask me about my...
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I will just say, like for me, it really does go back to like the things my mom taught me, and like my grandmothers were both really great bakers, and like it's really cool like when people come in like get a sticky bun bag and you're like, oh, this was my grandmother's recipe, like that's awesome. And like my grandma came in and showed me how to make sticky buns for the first time in the bakery, and like things like that. But like especially now that she's no longer with us, it's like really like I really feel like I'm carrying on that legacy, and like that's really really cool to me. Like on the days when I'm not sure I want to be doing it, you know, like you're exhausted and you're tired. A couple things keep me going. One of them is carrying on the legacy, and the other one is just being in our community. Like those are the.
I can tell those things move you. I love that. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So if someone would want to get a hold of you, they're not just going to wander downtown and knock on the door. How would they reach you?
I mean, they can. We're on Facebook and Instagram, our two main social medias. Gable House Bakes is our handle. You can also find us on like Google if you type us in, Gable House Bakery. Our phone number is there. And then, of course, we have storefront hours Wednesday through Saturday. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great job. Boom.
Yes. We did it.
Yay. All right.